Hello and welcome back to the DoneDeal YouTube channel. And today, well, today's video wasn't really supposed to happen, but Bob Flavin called me up and he said, Dave, I have got a car I need to show you. And here we are.
That's it, the EQE. It is just an outstandingly pretty, well, divisively pretty car because it is a little bit plasticky there in the front, right? But I think after that, the swoopy lines, it's just something a bit different, and it's fully electric and a huge battery, and it goes a very long way. The range of this car is over 650 kilometers.
And I think that's why I accepted it. He basically sent me a photo of when he collected it. It was north of 600 kilometers. And in the real world, that's actually what it's going to get. It's not some made up WLTP figure that it will never achieve unless it's particularly sunny, you drive on the exact perfect road. It is real world in Ireland in kind of autumn time. 600 kilometers. Easily
done, and it just looks outstanding. It feels like a Mercedes electric E-Class. Plus it'd be nice in the back, which I never get to drive in the back of these cars, so you're going to have to be chauffeured around a little bit.
Absolutely. So this is the Mercedes EQE. If you'd like to search for Mercedes-Benz for sale, then hit the link up there. And for now, we're going to take a little look at the EQE itself.
So in design terms then, David, do you like the look or what?
I'm too young. I think it's nice, but I do like, I love Mercedes, but I love kind of a little bit more square shapes. I don't like this, dare I say, almost Volkswagen Beetle type.
It's a clamshell unit bonnet, so it goes right down to here. There's no bonnet lines.
Handy though, presume, put your takeaway in there, your charging cables.
Frunk, would it have a frunk? Open, find out.
Is there one here?
Hang on, just find out. Open the doors.
Can't open the doors either.
Because the handles go away after a while. There's no handle.
None here either.
There's no handle to open the bonnet. So the bonnet doesn't open. Definitely no handle there. No, there's no handle.
So you can't open the bonnet?
No, so you can't open the bonnet.
But what you can open over here is the windscreen washer fluid. Such an unusual place for that to
windscreen
go.
washer, yeah. And the panel stands out as something standing there on its own. Like everyone goes, what's that for?
I thought, I was like, that's going to be some sort of new charging connection or something unusual, but...
Cables are in the boot and they're in a bag, take no space in the boot. They should be in the front.
Yeah, they definitely should. Now, if we make our way along the side,
yep.
Aerodynamic wheels. Generally not a fan, but actually they've done, if you kind of, they look good from far away, if that makes sense, because you don't see that this is actually a panel, so they almost look like the AMG alloys that you get on.
You will get more range using aerodynamic wheels than you will using good alloys, but I think visually it would improve the car greatly if it had nicer alloys on it. Pop-out door handles. These kind of annoy me. They look great when you walk up to a car first, but sometimes you walk away from the car and the door handle disappears and you need to root for the keys to get the door handle to come back out again. Okay,
now I do like this. Is very definitely good Mercedes.
Yeah, that's a proper touch.
It's a good door, that.
Small back doors in those as well.
This is where you fill her up with the juice.
This is juice port, yes.
I do like, it's very nice and pristine in here, isn't it?
It's very clean on the edge. I'm sure these light up when you're actually charging. And they've also started providing buttons to stop the charge from the car now. So you don't need to go to the thing.
Okay.
You press the button there and it communicates with the charge.
Very clever. Nice little rear spoiler here.
The smallest back window of any car I've driven this year. From inside, it's really hard to see out the back.
Well, it is. I mean, obviously we know I'm an extortionately tall person, but it's not quite what an E-Class once was in terms of height. They're getting bigger. It's a little bit, dare I nearly say, a bit of like a coupe SUV rear vibe.
There's a coupe feel to it. But now, EQS is a liftback, so it's a hatchback. This is not. This is a saloon.
Okay, and another really interesting thing about this is actually an electric car built from the ground up. So let's say the EQA that we would have seen, or the EQB or whatever we've previously test drove, they've always been petrol cars that have been fitted with an electric motor and batteries, whereas this is
the proper EV. EQs, which means they should have learned at this stage we need a place for the cables, but there isn't a place. There's just a bag here in the boot with the cable in it. We still need, we have to get cables, and cables are an optional extra, so you're paying extra for that cable to be there, but there's nowhere to put it.
Optional extras and prices. We'll talk about them quickly, and then will you take me for a drive on a lovely scenic Dublin?
It's meant to be a sort of a chauffeur thing.
I'm a first class citizen here.
Chauffeur, sir. Enter in.
Chivalry is not dead.
Chivalry. In.
All right, so quickly, we do want to discuss prices. To be fair, we have to get our sheets up here to get all of our numbers right. Starting price for the EQE 300, 82,000 euros.
Yep.
That's not bad now.
And the 350, which is the long range one, is 85,980. So it's
Very,
only a couple
very
of grand
good
in
value.
difference. You're going to get much more. That's the 650 kilometre range version of it.
And now you will be able to get this in an AMG form. You'll be able to get it with 4-wheel drive. Now I do want to talk, well, let's start nice and easy. How much is this one, Bob?
This particular model is 105,131 euros. So we've gone up fairly rapidly.
Quite quickly.
That includes an AMG line exterior and interior package, which is the AMG mats and carpets and wheels and things on it. That is 6,500 grand. And then a premium package, which contains a pile of things, a very long list of things, is 12,192 euro. And red seat belts, which are very pretty, but they're 509 euro.
500 euro for some red seat belts. And
That's
actually
expensive.
the list goes on. Pan roof, if you want to option that, it's over 2,000 euros.
It is a dark interior. I would if I was
Yeah.
going to option something, it would be the one
And to
thing
be
I would
honest, if
look
you're
at and go,
spending
yeah.
100,000, what's another few thousand? Now there is also the opportunity for about 1,300 euro to get a tow bar, which I don't actually know the load capacity in terms of how much you can tow, but I'll put it here. Now, there is one extra that I think is essential, particularly after that drive. The suspension, the air suspension, 2,777 euro, worth every single
penny.
cent.
I'd definitely buy the air suspension on any of the Mercedes lines because it completely changes the handling of the car. From sport mode to kind of comfort mode is entirely different when there's air suspension involved.
Yeah, air suspension definitely ticked that box.
This also has a fingerprint scanner. I can't use it because it doesn't recognize my fingerprint yet, but it's actually on the dashboard.
What you?
It's on, there's a little point. I was pressed it yesterday going, what's that button for? I can't figure that out, but it's actually a fingerprint scanner. I see it on the list here.
Interesting. Right, let's go for a drive.
So because of the air suspension, this car handles and drives very well, but it's actually really quiet. As you drive along the road, you realise the lack of engine note, but also the lack of just outside noise makes a huge difference to this car and the feeling of luxury. You don't want to feel luxury for 105,000 euro, you want to be fairly luxury. But with the recuperation system in it, you have modes you can choose from. So you can recuperate with just lifting off, or you can use the friction brake to actually give you a recuperation mode as well. It seems intuitive enough in just the auto mode, and I reckon most of you will probably put it into comfort mode and never think about it again, but you can actually mess around with some of the rest of it. Handling wise, it's crisp, it's rear wheel drive, so it does feel like that rear wheel drive effort is coming from the rear and being pushed along the road, and that's lovely. Infotainment system is phenomenal. It's got everything built in that Mercedes put in, but you can also use your wireless Apple CarPlay. It's got a wireless charger. It's got 4 USB ports up the front that are all USB-C and 2 in the back USB-C as well. So there's plenty of place to charge the car, charge the devices in the car when you're driving on the road as well. Everything works seamlessly. So once you ask for Siri, you will get Siri when your Apple CarPlay is enabled, but you can also talk to Mercedes Me if you want as well, and that system works just as well. And so if you don't want to use any sort of device connected to your car, you can do it just using the old-fashioned way, which is a Mercedes way. The car isn't the cheapest, but I actually think it's one of the finest cars that Mercedes have made in years. This or the EQS, I actually prefer this. I think it's kind of sportier somehow. I think there's a lot of technology in the S is great, but this is just a nicer car to drive in general.
So from the rear, and this is quite a nice way to do it, being driven in my new EQE, it is glorious. The first and foremost, most noticeable thing is the air suspension. It genuinely wafts along the road. And a good friend of mine actually worked in a Mercedes garage for years, and he said that the reason the S-Class sold so well in Ireland was purely because of the air suspension. It was so enjoyed by all of the customers. They come back and they just want another one, and so I can imagine that is going to entice maybe some of the old S-Class drivers into the E-Class, because now we're really seeing this as a whole new level, and this is the EQE. Now in terms of space, I've got plenty of knee space. Headroom's not massive, and I can imagine if you get the panoramic sunroof it might not be as spacious as well. The other thing is, whilst it is very comfortable back here, it's nothing like an old S-Class would be or the new EQS, but it's also a lot more affordable than that. It does have an armrest here that you can fold down to get nice and comfortable. With what I was hoping were drink holders, but it's just some sort of mechanism. I don't know, maybe from the pouch in here, I could put my phone in there, but it doesn't really make sense to me. But as a whole, it's really comfortable to be back here and very enjoyable. One other feature is very cleverly hidden away. There's some USB-C charging points down here. But as a whole, back here, I have to say it's glorious. There's ice fix points, and just a bit of interest. Despite the awful sound that makes, the rear windows do go the whole way down, so nice little addition there. All right, so good drive. Now let's see if we can do the Bob Flavin arm of death.
The test.
So,
right, here we go.
I always get so scared.
It works perfectly. That didn't even pinch. Not even a small bit. That was very nice.
It's just going back. He just wants pain.
Oh, it made a funny noise, but it still bounced back. Didn't kill anyone, so we're okay.
Sounded kind of
I have
expensive.
good confidence. That should be fine. You can definitely put in there.
I drove. Don't do that. I drove the E-Class actually last year. Lovely, lovely car. You can watch our review up there. But one thing I said was the boot opens and closes really quickly. And to be fair to that,
that's fairly fast, yeah, for electric boots.
Now we are fixating on the boot a little bit too much here, but
that's quick enough,
stuff.
yeah, it's quick enough. At least it is electric. I mean, the older ones where it just kind of falls down from a height. Right, that one.
Thoughts, Bob?
It drives incredibly well. Really, really well. For an electric car, you just don't notice the weight of the car. Remember, it's 2.4 tons, this car.
Yeah, it's quite heavy. And
all electric cars are.
I have to say, in the rear, yes, it's not massive in terms of space, but again, it's not an S-Class or it's not an EQS. It's the E-Class. It's the middle range one, and it's gloriously comfortable.
It is. It's just a beautiful. I think it's a challenging design. I know people will look at it and go, I don't like the look of it. I think there's problems with the A pillars are a bit too big, and visibility is a bit hampered by it, but I think that's the extreme design. My biggest problem, of course, is the bonnet dropping away so quickly you can't see where the bottom of the front of the car is at all from inside. But they know that. It's just, that's what you got to do for design. It still makes the car a fantastic purchase.
I'll tell you what, I'd take a sloping bonnet to have 600 kilometer range.
I know, that's the thing, 600, 650, and it's real range. This is not like fictitious numbers. You can actually get that range. I was the first one I've ever seen do that.
It's brilliant. Anyway, thank you so much for bringing me this today, Bob, to have a look at. I'm glad you came, even though it was quite last minute. And hopefully all of you at home have enjoyed seeing the EQE right here straight away. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Bob. If you'd like to search for Mercedes-Benz for sale, you can hit the link up there. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Good luck.
Robert, a left here, please.